Hey, welcome to the From the Shadows podcast. I'm your host, Shane Grove. And before we get started with this really cool episode, I just want to remind everybody that if you would like to find out more about our show, go to the FromTheShadowsPodcast.com website, hit all the different buttons that'll take you to all the different social media. You can see all the crazy stuff we're doing or Nita is doing, and I'm just trying to keep up with her. You can hit the contact button and send me an email if you have a story you'd like to share and come on the show and even share it with everybody if you want to do that. And if you want to get a hold of me directly, you can find me on Instagram at Shane Grove Author and send me a message, or you can just send it through Facebook and I'll get back to you. I promise. So with that being said, now we had such a good response from this guest's first episode. By the time this comes out, it'll be a month and a half or so. That way, I wanted to have him back to kind of talk about some things from a historical perspective in his life that he has experienced and share with everybody, because I did get feedback that people really wanted to hear this stuff, and I always do too. So coming back to the show, the ever popular CJ, otherwise known as the South Dakota Lawman. That was the cool, that could be your license plate. Now I want to warn you. I got a comment on this last week's episode. Some lady said I smiled too much while my guests were talking. So if I'm grimacing at you, I'm like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Yeah, like I'm supposed to growl at people while they're talking.
Yeah.
So,
And the funny thing about people too is if they're uncomfortable or scared or something, a lot of people laugh. Like that's kind of how I am.
yeah,
So
yeah. I just
what
kind
else
of
are you gonna do?
I kind of want to make the guest feel comfortable
All right.
and know that I'm engaged. And
All
I
right.
guess I got to go. I can't believe you
Okay.
said that. So,
I'll remember that.
yeah. So CJ,
Yeah.
we kind of briefly touched on some of the ceremonies and some of the historical stuff that went into your people's, um, I guess, history, like just the stuff that you guys practice. And it's very intriguing to me. I love to hear about this stuff. I know a lot of listeners want to listen, and you were more than gracious to say, hey, I'll come down and I'll lay it all out. Everything I've been a part of, I'll talk you guys through. So I, I'm going to just hand it over to you and let you start where you want to start.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Again, thanks for having me on. And I'm glad people are, curious and want to know some things about our Native American way of life. I'm just going to start out by saying these are just my personal experiences. All of my brothers and sisters from South Dakota, North Dakota, Nebraska, across the United States, each and every one of them have their own experiences in certain ceremonies, certain things that they do. This is just my perspective and what I know. And most of the things I'm going to tell you, you can look up on Google. You can find some of this stuff, but knowing the experience and what it's for on the inside and stuff is a whole different story. So I kind of wanted to explain things from my perspective, and also my son, Kyle Graham. He was with me on just about every ceremony I'm talking about. And I know he was one of your prior guests, but I'll start off by just saying, I'm not here to offend any of my people or anybody. I'm not saying any secrets or anything that's, that people need to know. I'll just put it right out there the way it is. So,
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good.
I think the best place to kind of start is when you first start in this way of life, at least the way I did. Um, I I was working towards a pipe, a sacred chanupa, which is a pipe that's used for tobacco only. It's not used for marijuana or anything else, peyote, none of that stuff. It's used for tobacco and it's used to pray with. And you kind of have to earn that in a way, because usually you start at a sweat lodge, and I'll get into that in a minute. And then you go up on the hill for a homblecha, which is, 3 days, 3 nights, 4 days, 4 nights, depends on what you're told to do by the spirits to earn this chanupa. But most of the time, your first time, somebody will give you a pipe to go up on the hill and pray with to get your own. So once you have that sacred pipe that you've earned by going to Sweat Lodge, by talking to your elders, by helping people, by learning how to set up the ceremony, the Sweat Lodge isn't just about throwing rocks in a tent and letting it go, throwing water on it like a sauna. Yes, basically that's what it is. But the way that you set up the wood, then the way you put the rocks on the wood and how many you put on is depending on how and what is going on in people's lives. That's basically our church. People come together about once or twice a week to get together in the Sweat Lodge, pray together, one heart, one mind. And we sit in a circle with the man that runs the Sweat Lodge, our pipe carrier, and basically we pray with him and he leads the ceremony. We have singers in there that sing songs to bring the spirits in. Once they're in that first round, the second round we start praying, third round we start going for the healing. It gets a little intense. It can get very hot in there depending on what's going on, but I've been in ones that had 20 rocks and it's hot, hot, hot. Then I've been in other ones that had 10 rocks and it was still just as hot as 20. So it just depends on how the spirits are working with the people, the prayers, what's being said, what's being done. There's also ways that you can set up rocks to do certain healings. So I mean, when I say it's a Sweat Lodge, it's more than just that. It's a sacred inipi, and that's what we come together as, mostly as our community to come and pray. And basically that goes 4 rounds, and those 4 rounds could go, I don't know, 10 minutes to 20 minutes sometimes, maybe a little longer. And so that first round is calling in the spirits. Second rock is praying. Second round is mostly healings, which gets intense. And then fourth round is your thank you round to close it out. To thank the spirits for coming in, you'll sing a thank you song and you'll send them out. Now, if things are going really crazy and people want to continue to pray one more round, we do what they call a Heyoka round, which is the 5th round. If you want to do that, you can take place with that or not, but it's very, very intense. It's very, 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 very intense. I'll just say that. After we close out the Sweat Lodge, we, smoke our pipes together because our pipes absorb the prayers. When we smoke the pipe and the tobacco goes, it carries it up to Wankantanka, Great Spirit, Creator, God, Jesus, God, whatever you want to call Creator. That's when we smoke those, and those prayers that go into those sacred pipes go up to Creator. And that's basically the end of the ceremony there.
So I want to add, so what spirits then are you calling in? Are you calling in like spirits of your ancestors, or the spirits that they worshipped or talked to? Like, who are you kind of calling in to hear your prayers or hear your, what you're asking for?
Sure. One of them one of the people's perceptions is that they are ancient spirits. Some of them have been here, some of them haven't been here. And that means living on Earth. Some people call them helpers from from Creator. They come down. Some people, I've heard them call guardian angels, that those are your personal helpers that come through. This is a ceremony that's gone on it's ancient. I mean, they've done this for years. Even some of the Celtic tribes across into Europe have used a Sweat Lodge in their own way to, purify themselves and get themselves together with a prayer and go for it, it's that kind of plays into a lot of the ceremonies that we do as the helpers, the spirits that actually come. Sometimes it could be a spirit that had lived here. I mean, I've seen, like Sitting Bull had come in at a Yaweepi ceremony. I've seen spirits that come in, which I'll get into in a little bit. Things that I have seen, the way they talk. it just cannot be duplicated. You can't do it. You can't do it. No, there's no scientific explanation to these ceremonies. They are sacred. They are very much, I guess, what you guys would probably think is paranormal, but it's actually praying, seeing those spirits come in and help, and hearing them too, you know?
And I mean,
Um,
and you don't feel, I mean, there's no part of you that feels like, oh my gosh, I'm imagining this stuff, because it's
mm,
stuff that you can't even imagine. Is that what you're saying?
that's what I'm saying.
Like you,
Which is going to lead us into, if you got any more questions about the sweat, let me know. We can talk about that more. It's just when we call in those spirits, they're helpers, they're good spirits, they're good things. Now, in this next ceremony, sometimes a bad spirit could come through, but we get rid of them right away. And I've had experiences of that I'll talk about. So,
and so what you're kind of describing for, um, us people that don't practice that, that's kind of like us going to church and having like a church on a Sunday, praying, asking for, people to, praying for people. You know, it's kind of like when you go to our church, who are we praying for today? Who are we going to
right.
ask for? It's, although it's not as involved as what you guys are doing. You guys are invoking spirits to come help. But that's similar. Like, that is how somebody could imagine it. You guys are all getting together, and there's a leader, somebody who, you said the guy carrying the pipe. So he's
Mhm.
now what is his official term? What do you guys call him?
We call him the man that pours the water.
The
It's
man
pretty
that
simple.
force.
Yeah.
He's
But
your
we all
waiter?
know.
He's your waiter? What are you talking about? No.
Yeah. He's
you
one
know.
of our guys. Yeah.
And how do you
Actually,
get to that? How do you get to that? Like, how do you get to
oh,
that position?
oh, years of ceremony, learning the songs, learning what each things mean. When you become a pipe carrier, you get a lot of responsibility that comes with that, because the pipe doesn't really belong to you; it belongs to the people.
Mm.
And so when you pray, it's for the people. That's what that pipe is for. That sacred chanupa. That's what that's for. Now, I guess I should have been a little more clear. When we go into the sweat lodge, it could be co-ed, male, female, or it could just be males. Some tribes do it that way, where it's just females, males. But the ones that I go to are pretty much co-ed. It's male and female. There's a few of us in there that are pipe carriers. And that kind of gives you, if our main guy that runs the sweat happens to be gone that day, we have the rights to run that sweat. But for me, I'm not as experienced as some of my brothers that are that have lived this life from day one. I was kind of a late bloomer, but for the last 25 years, that's what I've done. So I kind of paid my dues too. But one thing I wanted to tell you too is when we go into the sweat lodge, we kind of go around and talk with each other about, hey, what could we pray for? Who can we pray for today? What do you need? What do you want? Is it mental health? Is it physical health? Is it spiritual health? Is it emotional health? Whatever it is, all of us have an idea of what we're praying for each other and for the community as well. When it's time to start our first round to call in the spirits, we drop a flap and it's very dark in there. It's dark in there. It's just, I've always been told it's easier for the spirits to show up. I've also heard that some of them could have a look to them that could scare people, maybe disturb them a little bit because of the ancient, way that they would look as a spirit. Um, I got a little story with that. I'll tell them a little bit, but that first round we'll go around, we'll call the spirits in by singing, we'll open the flap. Second round we drop it, we'll pray. Third round we'll open it up, really get into people's healings. Fourth round, thank you, we're out. That's pretty much what it comes down to.
Okay.
Yeah, but that water and those sacred stones are everything. That's, we look at those sacred rocks of grandpas and Mariopa, or the sacred water, that's life, man. We need it, And
Now,
so with that steam,
is there a special is there a special place you guys get the water from, or is it more like you guys gather water and again it gets blessed, or a ceremony is done over the water to make it special?
great question. Great question. So you're reminding me of things I forget sometimes. I just do it all the time. The one thing is we'll pour the water into a pail and we'll put a piece of sage in there, is how
Mm,
I do it. And then I usually, if there's women there, I'll have a woman, a young lady or whoever, walk the water around clockwise around. And then we put it down and it's blessed. And then when we bring it in, we tap the rocks, bring it back, and then it's good to go. But I've also had it where we put medicines inside of it, which we would take like a red pouch, throw it into the water with the, after it's been blessed, and then drop a really hot a hot rock into there and let it steep like a tea. And then when you bring it in and you pour that water on the sacred grandfathers, everybody gets some of that medicine. You can
mm.
smell it. It coats your skin. It replenishes you. It's really a wonderful feeling. I've never had anybody come out and go, I don't want to do that again. They all want to do it again, which kind of gets into the new agers. I mean, you got a lot of, I love people. It's all good, but you get a lot of the new age, I guess I want to call, because I grew up with them, like hippies,
Mhm.
people that are looking for the new age and stuff like that. Once in a while, they'll show up. But for the most part, it's pretty much just us as a family, a community.
Is it weird? Like, how do you look upon, like, if I just showed up and said, "Hey, I want to come do this with you guys," is that something that I need to be Native American, part of your tribe, or a part of your family, or can I just come in with your blessing and just do a ceremony like this with you?
No, I can bring you in. Normally, it's never somebody that just shows up normally. I'm not saying it hasn't happened. I've just never seen it. But you're like my brother. So, and I call you my brother. And I could bring you in, everybody would accept you. You would be fine. You would be fine. Yes.
Yeah, I've wondered how, um, because I would I mean, I would just be considered an outsider, I would think. And how is that looked upon? Somebody like, like, oh, they're trying to horn in on what we do. They can't just leave our stuff alone. This is for us and us alone. So that's interesting that you guys can accept people in. And
It's
um
not going to be a ceremony where you could walk into and duplicate it perfectly. It'll never happen unless you live that way of life.
mm,
Now, I don't know, about maybe 10, 15 years ago, there was a guy down in Arizona that must have saw a sweat lodge. He went down there and started making money off it. By the way, there's no monetary value in what we do. This guy went down and did like a workers camp, like for people that need to come. How would I put it? One of those places that people pay to go to, like a retreat, you
like they're
know?
going to a working dude ranch or something
Yeah. Yeah.
where,
And they want to learn and feel the
yeah.
spiritual power of the natives. And well, this guy went down there, real quick story, and he built a sweat lodge. Well, when you build it, you got to build it right. You can kill people in that thing. So what he did was he put plastic on the inside, blankets on, nothing breathed. So these people came down. He had them home on the hill for 2 days, no food, no water in Arizona, brought them into the sweat to take them out. He killed like 3 or 4 people in there. And it was a guy that just happened to see something or read something and thought, oh, I'll incorporate this Native American way. And there it is. You wind up killing people. And that came down to us because our first sweat that we had was on these non-enrolled farmers' lands. And they started freaking out that we were going to die in there after that. So we actually had to move our sweat lodge. It affected people that much.
Mm.
So, there's that aspect of it, but that happened. Yeah.
Yeah, people trying to capitalize. There's always somebody
Exactly.
trying to capitalize on somebody else's way of living or spirituality, because if it looks cool, well, everybody, and sometimes it's just not that way. I
Right.
mean, like you said,
Right.
in your mind, there's no monetary value to it, but there's certainly tons of spiritual value to all of it, for sure.
Right. Nobody deals in hard cold cash. You know, If you want to go out and purchase a blanket for the sweat lodge, do it. If you want to go out and get the rocks and the wood, let's go out and cut it and gather it. You know, so that's how that's done with the sweat lodge.
You don't pass around an offering plate? I mean,
No,
okay.
no, we just offer prayers. That's it. We just offer the prayers.
That's, you know what? That's better than anything you can put in a plate for sure.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Money's the root of all evil, man. It corrupts. Yeah, we're
Oh,
not into that.
yes. Say it again for the people in the back.
Money corrupts.
so
Definitely.
okay, so what are so there's other ceremonies then
Yes.
other than this sweat. So what else do we got?
So from the Dakota Nakota, or as a lot of people call them, the Sioux Nation. They don't like to be called Sioux, by the way. You're either Lakota, Nakota, or Dakota. Some of them call each other Sioux, but whatever. Um, there's a ceremony called the Uweepi ceremony.
Okay.
And again, this is on the internet, so nobody can really get mad at me and my people. So what that incorporates is basically, I guess you could say, an altar man or a medicine man, as you might call him, or somebody who has been gifted or has earned an altar, which an altar is different for everybody. I have mine. My son has his. You weepy men have them. Medicine men have their own, and that can include a lot of sacred objects, whatever was gifted through them through the years, whether it's feathers, stone people, different medicines, being able to talk directly to those helpers in their language. The men that I have gone to, they all speak their language fluently. And the Uweepi ceremony starts off with somebody who has some major issues going on in their life. Maybe it's cancer. Maybe it's getting over somebody that committed suicide or somebody that is thinking about suicide. Basically, the Uweepi ceremony is used for some pretty hardcore prayers, like people that got some really hard stuff going on in their lives and they need help from the people. So basically you will go in a poggy and medicine man and tell the medicine man, hey, I got these problems going on. I'm offering either my pipe to them to smoke with me or tobacco to say, yeah, I'll take that on. We'll do that ceremony. And what that incorporates is, if you got a family of like 20 people and things are going on, people in the community, they want to come pray, singers especially. We always have singers in everything we do. Drummers and singers always have that with a sacred hand drum, and they sing sacred songs. We show up for the ceremony and we all go into the sweat lodge. Okay, we all prepare ourselves right there. You're preparing yourself for that prayerful mind. When the sweat is over, we go directly into ceremony, which usually is in the basement of a house. Sometimes it's in a community center, different places, but you have to make sure everything's blocked out. Mirrors, windows, whatever it is, it's got to be dark in there and it's closed off. And that's just the way they've always done it. If it's because, like I said, it was always explained to me that sometimes those spirits can look a little intimidating to people.
Mm.
And I'll get into that in a second. And also, I think it kind of, and this is just my opinion, it kind of goes back to the days where in the 70s, they wouldn't let us practice our Sundance. The government wouldn't let us practice these kind of things. It wasn't until, really lately in the maybe middle part of the century that they started laxing on that and letting us do these things, because they were always afraid that we were going to get together and we were going to revolt and take over the government and all this stuff. And no, we don't want them to have a religion. We want them to be Christians, period. And, so, I mean, I think some of that today with the darkness and the secretive of it is because of some of that too,
Mm.
but mostly for the spirits, I would say. But anyway, so when we get out of sweat, we go into this dark room and we all get into a circle. The medicine man is in the middle, our altar man. And what we do is we tie him up in a star quilt blanket all the way down to his ankles.
Ooh.
And we take a leather thong, a leather strap, okay? And we tie him up in that. Okay, now I've been a tie man, and I'm going to tell you this. Can people get out of things? Yeah. Did Houdini get out of things? Yeah. The way I tie these guys down, No way. No way. And I've taken it and I've reefed on it and got them all tied up to where they're like in there going, oof, oof. You know, they're tied up. And what we do is we lay them down in their altar and the pipe is at their head and they got their altars that surround them. We close him in there and the singers start. When the singers start, they're calling in those spirits to the medicine man and the spirits, you know, the intercessor. And then the spirits come in and they directly talk and show up around the room and tell the medicine man what he wants, what they want him to tell the people. So there's a lot of singing. Boom, you're singing at the very beginning, lights are off. Things start sparking. Now, when I say that, it kind of looks like a lighter flashing or something, but it's not. It's not. There's no way. And it flies around, goes around. Next thing you know, the very first Uweepi ceremony my son and I went to, there was a green plasma that came down from the ceiling and started going around. And as it was going around, you could feel the air like somebody had something that was fanning you around. And that green plasma would stop in front of you. And my son was like standing there next to me. And then all of a sudden you'd blink and it would be across the room. Now you're thinking, is it lack of oxygen? What the hell is going on? I'm a cop. All right. I'm the biggest skeptic ever. How can we recreate that? No way. There's no way. There's no way. There's no phones allowed in there. There's none of that stuff allowed in there. And sometimes you'll see that plasma. Sometimes you'll see lights all the way around. There's no way a guy, if he was trying to do lights or whatever, could even make that kind of light. But to go from one end of the room to the other room, to the other room, back this way, over this way, I mean, it's an incredible experience. And that's another one I could bring you to if you ever wanted to.
As long as you're not tying me up in the rug in the middle.
No.
Holy smokes. That sounds like, wow, that's intense. Like I can't even imagine.
Oh, it is. And you got to remember that as they're doing this, they're singing loud and it's just pounding into your head. These beautiful ceremony songs, these calling songs. I mean, it almost like puts you into a trance. And it's different for everybody. Everybody sees different things. I mean, we've all come out and compared to what we've seen and felt. So as that's going on, the spirits come in. The altar man will say, okay, they're here. He'll know they're here. And he'll say that in English. And then all of a sudden, you'll hear a voice. It's the weirdest thing in the world, but it sounds like a muffled voice. But it's talking its language. It sounds like a native man talking into something that's around, but it's next to you, but then it's not next to you. It's the craziest thing. Like I sit there and I listen to it every time and I'm like, wow, you know. And then the medicine man will say, hey, this is what they said. And basically sometimes they have humor. Spirits have humor. They do like to like and tease a little bit. So sometimes they'll drop something about people liking money, you know, the like casino stuff. Maybe they'll drop something like that, say something. But like I said, you can hear this voice coming from somewhere in that room, and it's going through our medicine man to the people. And everybody prays one at a time all the way through. They carry that around, pray together. And at the very end, we sing a thank you song. And every time that medicine man, when the lights go on, he's sitting cross-legged with the star quilt and the leather rope folded perfect right in front of him. Perfect. Like there is no mistake. There is no long corner. It's perfect. And those spirits untie him and put him there. And I've seen it every time. And I've tied those guys up where there is no way through their fingers, one by one, around their wrists, tie them up. There's no way they can get out. No way. No way. And, you know, he'll talk to the family about what everybody prayed for, and cancers get cured. Sicknesses get cured in there. there's certain responsibilities that the spirits or that creator expects from an individual for getting those blessings. Like a Wopula ceremony is a thank you. You should always thank your medicine man and your people that were there by putting on a meal, or if you want to give, some people give money, but not too often. It's usually like star quilts, blankets, it could be washcloths, it could be anything, but somebody gets a gift out of that. And it's to gift the spirit. It's to feed the people and show thanks for everybody and for as a community for doing that. And I think that's basically it for a Uweepi ceremony. There's just a lot of preparation to it, and it can take a long time. Sometimes it takes 6 hours in there. It's an all-nighter. It just depends on what's going on. So,
wow. And so I have to imagine when you come out of those, you're really like filled with whatever spirit, like it's got to be so intense because of what you witnessed. And there's no, like you said, there's no explanation for this, the gentleman getting out of what you just tied him up in and sit. Like, there's no questioning that you have just experienced something at a spiritual level that you can't really, like you said,
yeah.
duplicate.
I remember my first Uweepi ceremony I went to. When I got out, I felt this sorrow, and I'll tell you why. What I saw and what I felt and what happened to me made me feel sad for all the people that didn't experience God like I just experienced him, that experienced that doubt, or the atheists, or the people that think there's nothing out there. Yeah, you keep telling yourself that, but when I started going to these ceremonies, and I've had him even more intense where I was in there in the dark and a hand would come out and touch my head. Now, how could it not go to my shoulder, around to try to find my
even
head?
even
No, it went
accidentally,
right
yeah.
to my head. Another time was they were saying, reach out. I reached out and I felt this cold nose that was a buffalo. How did that happen? It was a nose. It was cold. It was like, how did that happen? Did
Don't
somebody
know.
walk around with the buffalo nose and, knew right where you were at to say, reach out and touch it? No, 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 no. So
That's
that's
crazy.
my first one. Was the first time I felt sorry for humanity because I got to experience something that made me a believer in God, period. Right across the board.
Well, and let me ask you that because I know the last time we talked, you said you were you were
Mm-hmm.
practicer of the Christian faith. So
Yeah.
does the Christian faith and the stuff you're experiencing, how do they go together? Because
It depends on the faith.
some
But
some people would say there's no way that anything you experience has anything to do with our God, Jesus, and our Creator. So how do
yeah,
you, which I think is a line I don't know that I want to draw in the sand. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
I think that there's, like, I'm like you. There is other powers. There's other things that have their hand in what we're doing. And I'm not going to besmirch the name of Christianity, but at the
no,
same time, I think that religions I mean, gosh, how many religions are there? There's not even just one practicing form of Christianity. That I think people mold stuff that exists or they experience in a way that feels good to them or whatever,
great point.
or they can reconcile.
That's a great point. And, it was told to me by my brother, Alan Demery. I give a shout out to him, BJ Rainbow, that, our way isn't the way. It's just a way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We have been practicing these for thousands of years, whereas we didn't even know that there was Europeans over there doing their thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, um, a lot of it depends on the religion. I'm gonna throw the Catholics out there. God bless you, love you. But the priests absolutely believe that if it's not Catholic, everybody's either in a cult or it's witchcraft. For instance, we have our sacred songs that we've sung forever to God, straight to God. That's where we went. The Catholic Church will not allow our drum into church for funerals, for celebration, for anything. You keep that thing outside. that drum is kept more sacred than most of the instruments that people come into play on Sunday, like their guitars that were just in the bar the night before playing. Our stuff is put away as sacred. Their stuff, it's okay for them to bring in those kind of instruments, but we can't bring in a drum, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the Lutherans, my pastor that I love, Robert Schmidt, he's very much about equaling it out. He's very much about, okay, yes, we can pray that you can't serve two gods. I get that. It says that in the Bible. I get that. But however I do it, whatever I say in my prayers, it's just a way for me to pray to God. It's just a way. It's nothing dark. There's no certain things that I call out to you. Is there black magic in our native ways? Is there bad medicine and you know, stuff like that? Yes, there is. And I've got
It's
stories
like
on that
that.
too.
It's like that
Yeah.
in every. It's like that in
Every
every. Yeah, yeah.
But
Certainly.
whatever you pray to is what you're gonna get. Whatever you reap, you sow, you know?
Mm-hmm.
If you put in the time and want to learn the native ways and learn how to make that balance with the Christianity life, you can do that. But there's no half-assing it, you know? If you want to find that balance, you got to find it for yourself, you know?
Interesting. I
And
like that. I like that kind of
yeah,
viewpoint because like I said, there like your experience, there are people that would just it's this my way or the highway, and it does not matter what y- like you're the Native Americans here lived for tens of thousands of years without knowing anything about Christianity per se. So how did that happen? You know what I'm saying? Like how did how did I don't know. I don't know enough, okay, to know
yeah,
what the what because I'm sure there would be a reason for it. There'd be an explanation for it. But at the same time, you guys we're all created from something.
right.
And you know, why is I mean, unless the earth was the um just like the laboratory for a bunch of different gods to come down and say, well, we're going to put our people, and then the last man standing gets the planet, gets the planet, you know, and
Yeah,
everybody has to say, I mean, I,
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know. But I think there's room for all the good. I think there's
yeah,
room for all the good, you know,
yeah,
for sure.
yeah, most definitely. And that is what it's all about with my people. That's what we always pray. We don't never pray against each other. That's forbidden. You just don't do that. Um, Yeah, that's the Uwepi ceremony. Now, a Uwampi ceremony is basically the same thing, except the guy doesn't get tied up in the middle. The altar man doesn't get tied up in the middle. It's basically a pipe ceremony where we bring in our pipes, lay it around his altar. Nobody gets closed in, nobody gets covered up. Everybody just prays, one heart, one mind. And you know, you can pray for the same thing. A Uwepi ceremony is a little more advanced, a little more intense than a Uwampi ceremony. However, both just as important and can be just as intense. Same songs, calling songs, prayer songs, different things, thank you songs, and we all smoke the pipe to let our sacred prayers go to the Creator. So there's a Uwepi and a Uwampi ceremony. Basically, the Uwampi is a pipe ceremony. The Uwepi is a tie-up ceremony. That's the
I'm going
best way to explain
I got to
it.
make it. I'm going to make a note of that. So when I'm
Yeah,
invited to one, I know what's, I
come
know
on out,
what's,
man.
I
Come
know
on
what's
out.
happening. I
Come on
still
out. We got a lot more going on.
like, it's, I mean, you can't ever get over the wonder in those
Yeah.
ceremonies. I mean, can you? I mean, it's always got to be like such a spiritual, uplifting thing to know that, you know, if you really are earnest and honest in what you're asking for, stuff that you know the other side's going to show up
Yes.
and and be
Yes,
there.
and it is. I believe, man. It's a thin curtain. Sometimes spiritualists say, "Oh, it's a curtain. It's a curtain." That's a pretty good way of looking at it. You know, I remember one time I was inside of a Quonset. Basically, it was just a building that was probably big enough to have a basketball court in, and a little kitchen in the back. And we had a Uwepi ceremony in there, and there must have been, I don't know, 75 people in there, and we covered up all the windows. There's about 20 windows in the whole place, and they were good size, probably 4x4, you know? So we covered them up with blankets, pillows, everything. And at the end of that ceremony, everything ripped down at one time. Everything went to the ground. And I got up to go to the guy that is kind of my teacher, my helper that I go to. And there was an old lady that was standing next to me in buckskin, and I could only see her out of the corner of my eye, just vaguely. If I looked, it wasn't really there, but if I looked, it was like a shadow of this woman, and I could smell buckskin. I could smell it. And I said, who's standing here with us? And he goes, don't worry, that's my helper. Don't worry, she's fine. She's a grandma. She's helping right now. And it was a spirit, man. I mean, I smelled it. I saw it. I touched it. I get it. I'm a skeptic. I was a skeptic until I couldn't be a skeptic anymore. You know,
Okay. Yeah, I like that.
to the point where I had guys that were cops coming to see what I was seeing, you know, and of course, you know, it really helped. It gathered all of us, and yeah, it's about prayer, you know. But yeah, you see some things sometimes that are like, oh, wow, okay.
So have you
Yeah.
ever, like you said, you mentioned before, like they keep it dark in there so that sometimes you don't see spirits that maybe you can't quite handle, like visually. Is there
Yeah.
ever been an occasion where you or somebody you knew had that happen, and like what was it like?
Yeah, there was one where the spirit that is known to the community, and I don't know if he was a bad warrior, but he was a tough warrior. His name was Poundmaker. Okay. And Poundmaker, in a ceremony, had shown up with my brothers, and I wasn't there, but they came right over to my house afterwards, and was like this huge dark mass came through, and it just like felt strong, like wow, like everybody got tensed up, you know. And yeah, there was kind of a little spiritual battle that happened in that ceremony. Um, why he came in, I don't know. I don't think he was called in. When that happens, occasionally it's called a winagi, which means a bad spirit. I've been in ceremonies where everybody's inside of there in the ceremony, and be that as it may, I've heard trash cans being thrown around outside, up against the wall, different things. People praying it goes away. Is somebody hiding out there in the woods? I don't think so. I don't think so, because I've been to some places where nobody was there and it's out in the middle of nowhere, you know. So those kind of things do happen, but the goodness of our prayers and the things we do, it left, but you can feel the wind. You can feel kind of like maybe a battle going sometimes, kind of, you know, maybe the medicine man is pouring something out of somebody. I didn't want to share this, but I'll share this. This is one of my only secret, really kind of crazy stories. Two of my brothers are pipe carriers. We're getting ready to go into Sweat Lodge in Grand Forks, North Dakota. We go out there. I'm late. I show up. I got my pipe in my bag. Okay. My other two brothers have their open. Okay. There's a little tiny tree that's growing, and this girl's sitting by it. She's talking about it. She's crying. And I pulled up and I was like, what's going on with this girl here? And they're like, dude, I don't know, man. And they're like, she's acting really crazy some kind of way. And I was like, okay, well, let's pray about it. I opened up my bag to get my pipe out. Boom, slam back. And the boys looked at me and I looked at them, and I was like, what is seriously going on with this person? I knew it was her. I thoroughly believe she was possessed. We got into the sweat lodge and we're sitting in there, and she started yammering about things that I didn't understand what she was saying. It was in a gruffy voice. Um, she was being very inappropriate inside of the sweat lodge, to the point where she took her hair tie out and threw it on the rocks, and it just smoked up the whole sweat lodge with rubber. You know what I mean? She was just being very disrespectful. And we went in that first round, called those spirits, got through the second round, and by the third round, she was coming around. She was coming back to herself. But I really believe that she was possessed by something. Something had a hold of her. Mental, maybe. Possessed, probably. I think that. At least I felt it that way. My pipe didn't even want to come out and smoke with the people. It slammed the lid right back down. So I mean, you
That's
got
So,
You got those kind of things that happen.
well, and so when so you're describing, the evil spirits. So is it like is it like they so the good spirits that you guys call in, their power really comes from you guys getting together and praying for them to come, right?
To God,
To
praying
God,
to God.
praying to
It's
God.
all what God gives us.
So, and that's where they get their power to come and show themselves to you in whatever manner and help you.
Yes.
So, do these evil spirits then sense that there's something going on? If I can just somehow get a little bit of this power, maybe because I gotta be honest, there's probably not as many people conjuring up evil spirits as what we all think. I would hope not.
Or think that they're doing that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you know how everybody says, don't play with Ouija boards. That's a doorway. I believe that. I believe that.
Mhm.
But I also believe if you go out and pray for a spirit and make a ceremony up, it's going to come listen to you. It's at least going to come hear you. And if you got that spirit that's not strong and you're looking for something, I believe that whether you're Christian, Muslim, whatever it is, if a spirit sees an opportunity to get you a bad spirit, it's going to get you, you
And,
know, and
wow.
they're good at it.
So like this girl that
Yeah.
what do you think the purpose of her coming into the sweat lodge was
She was
then?
having a she was having a tough time. She was there with her friends and they brought her to come get help. And
Oh,
come to find out she's had problems with drugs. She's had problems with different things. Witchcraft was never brought up, but I'll tell you, a lot of the people that have those problems in our ways, they're playing with stuff that they shouldn't be playing with. They see something in a ceremony and they try to replicate it, and when they do, they mess everything up and they mess themselves up. This way of life, and they'll tell you, walking the red road, walking that road of sacredness and everything, it's not to be played with. It can hurt you. You know. Yeah, yeah. I just think she had a lot of issues going on, and I think whatever had a hold of her, um, she was just wide open for it, And then it went away, and she was fine later that day. She was fine. If she was mental, I would think that she would still be screwed up from that, but she seemed like she was okay. She ate, she drank, she talked with us. Yeah, those kind of
interesting.
things happen. Yeah.
Interesting. Yes, that would be definitely alarming when your pipe doesn't even want to come out.
No, I didn't even want to come out. That's the
Wow.
only time that ever happened. Yeah, it was
Wow.
crazy, man.
Wow.
Another thing, since we're on the pipe thing too, is there's different kinds of pipes, different colors means different things. I knew a guy, the veterans usually carry a black pipe. They'll
Hmm.
carry like a black stone pipe. Some of them, I carry a red pipe. I'm not a veteran. So I mean, there's different pipes for different people, small, big, large, depending on what you want and what you get and what creator gives you. But there's a lot of power in those. I knew a guy that wasn't a veteran, was going on the hill, and a guy very inexperienced gave him a black pipe. He went up on the hill for 4 days, 4 nights. He didn't make it one night because the storms were so bad. He thought he was going to get blown away by a tornado. And he came off the mountain. Everything went nice, but that inexperience and carrying a wrong pipe and praying with that's, yeah, that's not his,
So,
that's not meant for him.
so what is it? What's it like to go up on the hill for a couple days at a time? And
Oh man, it's it's awesome. I'm not gonna lie, it's awesome, man. I mean, you think you get bored, this and that, but when you're up in the woods on a hill by yourself, nothing around, it's just you and God, no clock. I mean, just being without a clock makes me happy. We all live by a schedule,
oh
but
yeah,
you're up there just praying, praying, praying. Things come to you. I've had things come to me. My brother was up praying up in Idaho this last year, and he said, I fell asleep sitting up. And then when I opened my eyes, there was a bear right in front of me. Right in front of me, a bear. It was over in Idaho. That reservation over there, Yapway, I think it's called. Yeah, and he's a Sundance leader. And that bear, and there's bears all over there. But yeah, it was right in his altar, like looking at him. And he said, I didn't move. I just sat there and it walked away. Good for you. That might have
oh,
been a different story, I don't know.
Holy
Um,
smokes.
yeah. But it's a beautiful experience, you know. You go up all day, all night. I mean, are you going to fall asleep a little bit? Yeah, you know, but for the most part, you're there with your pipe and you're praying all night. And, you know, a message will come to you. When they put you on the hill for Omblecha, they'll bring you into a sweat lodge with 7 rocks. Okay. Um, you'll do like a couple rounds there, and then they'll cover you with something because at that point you're holy. Nobody should be looking at you. You're a holy. And so the helpers will take them up the hill. Some guys pierce up, you know. We can get into Sundance in a minute. Sometimes they're pierced up in their altar and stay there for 3-4 days, and then they'll break out. Um, but I'll explain that in the Sundance. But yeah, it's very much a prayerful experience. It's you and God only.
Hmm.
Um, do bad things come at you sometimes? Yeah. I've had friends describe Iktomi, the spider is called Iktomi in the Lakota Nakota way. And it was colors that they couldn't, that doesn't exist. This spider just came up to him and was, you know, he's a trickster, is what he is. A coyote's a trickster. There's spirits always playing tricks on you, you know.
Wow.
I've had people have those experiences. But at the end of those 4 days, they bring you back off the hill into sweat, and then you tell everybody what you experienced. And sometimes your name might come out of that.
Mm.
Um, Maybe a message from God for everybody, like, hey, this is what I saw, what we need to do. This is what I need to do for myself, you know, but it's between you and God. It's a great experience.
Hmm. Yeah, it
Yeah.
does. It does sound like something everybody just in general should go do, even for just a little bit every day. Turn everything off and just
Yeah.
get silent and meditate or pray or think for wow. I
Yeah.
could you imagine if the whole world, like you said, you had that alarm go off in your
Right.
town at noon
Right.
everywhere around the where everybody just set your phones, turn your phones off, turn everything off, and just hang out
Right.
for 10,
Not worry
15.
about time. Don't
Yeah.
worry about nothing. Let everything go. You
Wow.
know, it's a great experience. Yeah.
So now the sundown, right? You said sundown?
Sundance.
Sundance. Okay.
Sundance is probably one of the most, and I've been jotting notes down all week, so I try not to forget everything because there's a lot to it.
Mhm.
Um, it's a very sacred ceremony with tribes. Next to a Uweepi or a kettle dance or whatever, a Sundance is probably the big once a year thing that people do. Certain people do. For instance, um, if somebody's really sick in your family and you want them to get healed, you Sundance for them, which means you have 1 year to prepare. That means going to sweats. That means doing things the best that you can in your ability. And then when it comes time, usually in the summer, that you'll go up on the hill, Omblecha, for a few days, a fasting camp. You'll come down. Um, some people do 3 sweats before you can sundown, so that purifies you, get your spirit into that mode, and then you go sundance. Now, the sundance is a big round yard. East, west, north, south has its own meaning. Okay. There's only areas where the sundancers can stay. You don't touch them. You just, they're there. That's what they're there for, is to dance. There's no food or water for 4 days. You get up at the sunrise, you dance, you get a little break, you dance more, you get a little break. That goes on all days until that's done. Then you can go to bed at night and sleep, whatever. No food, no water, no. And it can be hot down in South Dakota during the summertime.
Yeah.
So, and I've had some experiences down there that happened to me, um, but when you're out there, you're praying to that tree. There's a big tree that's put up in the middle, and everybody ties their colors on the trees and has ropes that come down in that tree in the middle. Underneath that tree is a buffalo heart. They'll take a buffalo heart and put in there and then put the tree up. I've seen some amazing things happen when they put that tree up. Amazing. Um, One was this old medicine man was there. We put up the tree with the buffalo heart in the bottom, and all these coyotes around 4 mile area must have hollered at the same time. What, that in the middle of the day? I mean, there was no reason for that to happen. Yeah. So anyway, you put up that tree in the middle and you'll dance. And at the end of that 4 days, you will go up to the tree and pray. And then the Sundance leader will pierce you through the top of your breast, up here on your fatty skin. They'll take and I got like piercing pegs that are bombs like this, and they'll push them through both sides. Then you go up and you pray to the tree, and you go back and you lean and your skin stretched out a little bit and you dance. And then when everybody's all pierced up, ready to go, we'll go up once, we'll go up twice. And the third time you just fall back and it just goes, and they all fly out. And that's the sacrifice that you're giving for a new year. We always say Happy New Year during that time because it's a new bountiful harvest. There's choke cherry branches that are on the tree to represent a good harvest. There's always sage and cedar going on around, keeping everything holy, keeping our pipes all lined up holy. At the end of that ceremony, we all break and then we finish our dance out. And then we feast, man, and they feed us everything, man. It's like anything that you want is there to eat or drink. And I'll tell you something, you can put down a lot of water in that time, a lot of food.
But yeah, especially if you haven't eaten for 4 days.
4 nights, 4 days, 4 nights. Yeah. It's a pretty holy experience, man. The last night we're there, we do what I call a ghost dance, but we all put on white t-shirts and it's total darkness. We're out in the middle of nowhere. It's just us, TVs, and the moon. And it's something else to see that at nighttime. And the one experience that I had, we were doing a ghost round. And as I went around, there was in that tree, there was a shrouded figure with its hands out. And I was like, am I seeing that right? It's been 3 days, no food, no water. Am I seeing that right? And a couple of my buddies kind of bumped me, and they must have been taken aback by something. Anyway, when we got done with that particular dance, we went back down to our camp, and our little niece, about 9 years old, came down and go, "Uncle, did you see that tree? Did you see who was in that tree?" And it wasn't anybody that climbed up there. It was a spirit that was up in that tree. But a ghost dance is very, very intense too. That was the dance back in the day when the white man basically was wiping us all out, and a medicine man, Wavoka, came up with the ghost dance, came up to the Midwest. And as you do that dance, it was to take away the white man and restore everything back to where it was. That's what a ghost dance is. But we've kind of adopted, I guess, a piece of that in the Sundance, but it's beautiful. It's something to experience. You feel holy. You feel holy. All these things, you feel holy. Like I said, the only time I didn't was feeling sorrow for mankind because they didn't see your experience, but I experienced, But for the Sundance, it's great. It's a time when all the community gets together. It's kind of secret still. That's just kind of the way it is. You kind of got to be invited. It's not a ceremony. All these ceremonies are not something we just open up for everybody and say, "Hey, we're going to advertise for 2 weeks. Let's show it." No, not like that. It's word of mouth. Yeah.
I was going to say, I bet you could sell tickets.
Oh, we laughed. A lot of my friends laughed that if we took our ways and went to the West Coast or someplace where all these rich people that don't know anything about spirits or anything, and we were to start something like that, yeah, we'd probably make millions off it. But then again, when I die, I got to face Creator with that, and that's something I'll never do. I'll never trade money for my soul.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
But stick up for the Sundance too, real quick. I want to talk about something that came from the Mandans. Now you got to remember the Lakota were on the plains. The MHA Nation, the Mandan, Hidatsa, Rikara, are over here in Newtown where I'm at. Okay, and their trading post was going on for years. They live in earth lodges. What a beautiful culture. They got a great culture. That's where they got Sakakawea to guide Lewis and Clark was, from the Mandan, Hidatsa, and Rikara. The Lakota and them were off in the plains here a little bit. And my tribe was up north. So one of the ceremonies that the Mandans have is an Okipa. Now, I've heard some people say that the Sundance came from the Okipa. I have no proof of that. I don't know that. That's only been word of mouth. I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying it isn't, but it's two vital ceremonies that I think need to survive. And it's their Sundance, the man dance. And it's done in a half lodge. Um, there's always a part for somebody in the lodge, like the bear medicine, different things like that are in different areas. In the middle is where they pierce the individual and they hoist them up in the air. And basically, I'll just give you my brother's vision or version, who has been a sundancer for years in Okipa. When he went up in the air, he came to me after this all happened, was crying. He goes, I died. I died while I was up there. He goes, I could hear people saying, ow, ow. Or back then his name was Little Missouri, so they were calling him Alwadea. Gosh, I think that's how they say it. And he goes, I died and I went through the clouds and I was sitting there. The people came to me and they told me that, you can't be up here, you can't stay here. But when you go down, you're going to be for the people. You're going to help the people. This is what your life duty is. And it's been that way for him. Then he came back to life. He broke out of the piercings. And then he told the people what he had saw. But he's like, I died. I died. They took me. Like I was gone. I could hear things around me, but I couldn't see them. I couldn't feel. And the next thing you know, there was our people there. And the one was telling him, hey, you're going to help people the rest of your life, our people. And he's a Sundance leader in like 3 different Sundances now, and kettle dance. Did a kettle dance yesterday, which is another ceremony. But yeah, that's kind of the Okipa. But yeah, it's hanging in that lodge and waiting for a vision, basically, making sure that your prayers are fulfilled. So there's a little bit of pain with that for sure.
I would say so, but
Yeah.
I guess that's a sacrifice that
It is.
that you got to make to get that vision and get that peace or whatever,
Yep.
that you're getting. Well, we're
Keep in mind that we could go on for a long time talking about each one of these, but
I was gonna say we've already been almost an hour. So
okay.
For the sake of time,
Okay.
I just want to know. Okay, so I want to get your take on what you would like to see from the younger people, especially the ones that you have, your family, your tribe, like, and the other people, right? Like, what would you hope and pray for them to do, like, is to carry on the tradition? Like, what would you like to see from them?
This is something that we've been talking about for a long time. And again, this could go on for an hour. We were just talking about it this morning. I think with the reservation system, it was meant for us to fail. I really do.
Mm.
And I think that we are a beautiful people. We have beautiful culture. But with what's happened with technology, what's happened with outside influences, it's really taken a lot from our youth, a lot in 4 areas: physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. It's taken away from all that. I pray that we can get that back. I pray that our youth can get the help that they need, especially in the mental area, the trauma area. A lot of them experience trauma, generational trauma. If I could pray for anything, I would just pray for them to get the help, stop suicides. The suicide is rampant in Native country. To get more opportunities to get off the reservation and do something, follow a dream, get a dream and go with it. So many kids in 7th and 8th grade that I ask, or other grades, what do you want to be when you grow up? When I grew up, I wanted to be a cop. I did that. Other of my friends did the same thing. Most of these kids nowadays, they don't know. They don't even have an idea what they want to be.
Mm.
Most of them can't even tell time on a clock with the hands on it. I mean, just the technology is just taken over. And man, I just pray the best that they can deal with their demons, man, because it's bad. It's bad on the reservation. It's bad everywhere. But
Well,
for us and our people, it's a little more compact.
Well, I think that yeah, like you said, it's more compact for you guys because that seems to be to be what's happening everywhere with the youth. And I think until there's some ingenious young people who want to take the past and bring it to the present and figure out a way to make what you guys have grown up doing and you do, and present it through the technology in the eyes, to the eyes and minds and stuff of the young people. I would hope somebody can figure out a way to do that and say, hey, look, these aren't just some old people doing a dance that's crazy. And maybe if, I hate to say it, but maybe if somebody did something on TikTok or Instagram and tailored it for the young people to kind of breadcrumb them along into like, man, I want to see some more of this, or I want to learn more of this, or if somebody was able to do, because that's the good that this kind of technology should be used for, rather than poisoning everybody, it should be for education and to kind of inspire people to want to learn, learn and find out more. So I hope everywhere.
Sharing your experience. I wish I could just take what I've seen and talked about today and just put it in you. Now you see what I'm talking about. Yeah, you got to find some way to do that.
Yeah, and that's why I hope this episode will reach some younger people, and we'll certainly try to get it out there the best we can, and hopefully somebody will just say, man, this is pretty interesting. I want to know more about this. So anybody that watched this episode, that hung out with us, that listened, comment, share it, do whatever. If you got questions, get a hold of me. We'll connect you with CJ because he's a pretty good teacher, I think. And
thanks, brother. I appreciate that. As do you.
Hey, look,
appreciate you.
I just appreciate that you were willing to come on and share this stuff, because the more I learn, the more I love about the Native culture and appreciate it. And, I hope it's something that we're never not able to experience if we want to.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Maybe this is a start with what you're doing, just like you were talking about. Maybe this will inspire some people to want to, learn some culture, some heritage.
Yes, I'm hoping Nita gets some good clips. We'll pick some good clips that we could share. We'll do it in a little, like 10, 15, 20 seconds. So I got to hear more about that. So
we can always do a part 2. We got more ceremonies. So whenever you're ready.
Holy smokes. I feel like we need to make a journey out there and do some stuff in person. Although I don't know if I'm man enough to go through some of that stuff. So
you're good. You'll be with me. You're good, man. I got you.
Well, CJ, I appreciate all the time you've spent, and I know this means a lot to you, and it means a lot to me that you hung out and did this. So I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep.
God bless you all out there. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of the From the Shadows podcast. Until next time, never shy away from the darkness or what may be lurking in the shadows. We are out.
God only knows what's hiding